Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Friday Live Q&A. It is Friday, the 23rd of February here, and I am live now on Facebook and YouTube. So to anyone out there in Facebook and YouTube land, a big hello to you. As always, I'll give this, it takes a little while for the feed to filter through for you guys to know that I'm here. Thankfully today, yes, it's been super hot here, really hot this week, and we got a lovely cool change last night, so I'm really enjoying the temperature change and the coolness in the air. We've had a couple of total 5-band days here, and it's been really hot northerly winds and really dry, and it just kind of puts you a little bit on edge. So it's nice to know that we've had a lovely cool change. Temperatures dropped and it's a little bit of a more normal day here. So if you're just tuning in, feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're listening from, where you're tuning in from, or if you're on YouTube or at all. I always love to know who else is on YouTube, because I'm kind of relatively new to going live on YouTube. And as always, I've got some questions here that I will answer. If you've got a question you'd like me to answer, then pop it in the comments below and I'll make sure it gets answered during the live. But I do have questions here that I know a couple of you are waiting for answers from, so I will absolutely get to those today. Hi, Donna. Hello. Nice. Thanks for saying hi. Now, Matakana, that's New Zealand, right, isn't it? Matakana, that's New Zealand. I get confused sometimes. I'm pretty sure that is. It's definitely not somewhere in Australia. That definitely sounds New Zealand to me. But thank you for saying hi, honey. Appreciate it. And anyone else who's just tuned in, feel free to say hi. Like always, pop your questions in the comments below. It's been a really interesting week. As always, when I'm doing these lives on a Friday, I like to, obviously respond to your questions and draw on some of the things, north of Auckland. Yeah, I thought so. And draw on some of the things or themes that have come up in my client work or the work with my relatable students. It's so lovely, actually. I just want to share a little story with you. I had my first session. So I've been working with a couple for a few weeks now, and they've had separate sessions with me. So generally when I'm working with a couple, I will work with them separately for a few sessions until I think they're ready, until we've covered off some of the stuff that they were struggling with and where they're feeling closer and more connected and there's a lot more goodwill. And then I'll bring them in and they'll start having sessions with me together. So it was just so beautiful. This couple had their first session with me, their first joint session. So they've had separate sessions, but this was their first joint session. And, when they started, they were really struggling. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of upset, a lot of taking things personally, a lot of stuckness, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of disconnect. And it was so beautiful. I said to them, it is so beautiful to see you. They were playful and lighthearted and kissing each other and laughing and mucking around some of the things that were really pulling them apart. And I said, this is not been that long that you've been learning this understanding and we've been having these sessions. It was just, I can't tell you. I said, look, I don't want to make this about me because it's not about me, but I just want to say this is why I do what I do, is to see that result, to see you like that is just beautiful. And the lightness and the playfulness and the love and the ease was just amazing. So I've been high on that feeling ever since, because in my mind, they were saying, it's just so easy now, Fiona. There's so much ease. You're right. It's so easy and simple. We were just complicating everything. It's easy. And we just, he said it. I wrote it down. It was so lovely. He said, I come home and I'm super excited to come home. It's the best part of my day. And I went, previously, and this is what happens, right? When goodwill is low, people want to, they spend more time where it feels better. So previously they'd be spending longer hours at work or more time with the kids or more time doing whatever because that it feels better. But they were just saying, it's just so beautiful. I come home, my partner is super excited to say hello. It's the best part of my day. Neither of us are taking things seriously. Things are just washing off. This was, anyway, so that was their first session with me. And I just want to share that I was so thrilled and excited for them. And yeah, I've been on a high about that ever since. And I also wanted to share with you, I have shared this with you guys, I think, quite a while ago, but this T-shirt that I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see it, it says proud to be relatable on it. And I wanted to wear it because one of my students, this was last year, it'll be early last year, one of my relatable students has access to stuff like this, I think. And he jumped on one of the calls one day and he was wearing this T-shirt. And it caused a bit of a laugh amongst my students, the group that were on the call that we had. So we have Zoom calls different to the Facebook call. So a lot of people think this is a relatable call. This is not. This is a Facebook Live with anyone and everyone. I have calls twice a week with my relatable students that are through Zoom that are just contained to the students, not to anybody else. And anyway, he said, Fiona, I've been so thrilled with everything I've learned. It's just completely changed my life. And I'm so proud to be a part of the program. So I've had this T-shirt made. And I just thought it was just, anyway, then it was really cute because the next week someone jumped on the live call and they had the T-shirt. So they'd messaged him and said, hey, can you make me one? And then it kind of spread. So the next call, someone else had one on and there was about 4 or 5 people on one. And then he eventually sent one to me. And I've been so proud of my students this week or all year, to be honest, of the ripple effects they are creating, of the things they're letting go of what they're putting down, of what they are generating, because we are the generators of our experience, and what they are generating for themselves and their families and the people around them. It's just so, I was so proud. And I haven't worn this for ages. So I'm popping this on because I'm really proud. So this is why I've got this T-shirt on, proud to be relatable, because one of my students made it for me, and I just thought, made it for me and for a whole heap of people. It was just beautiful. So, hey, Min, thank you. Looks great on you. Hi, proud to be relatable. Yeah, thanks, Minnie. Thank you, darling. So if you're wondering what that is, this is the story behind this T-shirt. One of my students made it for me. It's just beautiful. So as always, if you're just logging on, I can see a few more people have logged on now, which is great. Feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're listening from. And if you've got a question, please post it in the comments below. Now, I'm going to just bring up, I've had a quick look at some of the questions for today, so I'll get started on answering those. But if there's something else you want me to touch on today, just post it in the comments. Okay. Hi, Fiona. I found you on Facebook and just purchased your ebook. I truly hope it helps. I'm always angry. Yeah, I can relate to that. I used to always be angry too, honey. You're not alone there. Ragey, and it's everybody else's fault. My husband and I have been fighting constantly lately, and our kids have witnessed it, and it's affecting them. What doesn't help is my husband's drinking problem when he's upset. He drinks to the point of extreme anger, harsh words, and threats of suicide or leaving. I've not helped in many times telling him to leave and not return. Last night I was convinced he wasn't coming home, and he did. I know I can't change him, but I can change myself. Yes, you can. Oh my goodness, honey. Yes, I know I need to. I'm in therapy. It's just hard, as I'm sure you know, and I think I'm finally ready. I'm excited to read your book, join your community, and work on myself. What's hard is overcoming the guilt, mum guilt, wife guilt, work guilt, of being a full-time working mum. My husband is a stay-home dad to our 9-month and 2.5-year-old on homeschools. To take time to work on me and not give to others. My ask, I guess, sorry for the novella, is how can I talk to my family and say I know there are problems of me not showing enough care, attention, affection, but I need some time to work on myself so I can be that person you all need. That sounds like a good way to approach it. What you just said here. Oh, we're so funny, aren't we? And I say this with so much love for you, honey, for everybody. But people often ask me this, how can I say to my family X, Y, Z, right? I'm like, just say that. Like we're so gorgeous because we what's the word? We overcomplicate things and overthink things and then get ourselves stuck. And we're really good at avoiding the elephant in the room, right? If you just speak to the elephant in the room, things are so much easier. We just got to be open and honest with the people in our lives. Okay. So if you need time, I think the sheer fact that you've acknowledged that there is stuff that you need to change, and there is stuff that needs to be done differently, and you need some time. I don't think it's permission that you need from your family, to be honest. I think it's permission. You're looking for permission from yourself. If you give yourself permission, everybody else will. You don't need permission from your family, but you do absolutely need to give yourself permission. And if you're looking through the lens of your family to give yourself permission for something you won't give yourself permission for, that's not the way to go about it. Okay? You give yourself the permission, and your family would be more than happy to support that, honey. Okay? The permission is yours to give. Please don't rely on someone else to give it to you through them, which I'm getting the sense of is happening here. Okay, there is nothing wrong, and it's a wonderful thing to take time for yourself, because we can only give what we have to give. If we have nothing to give, if we have nothing, we have nothing to give. All right, everything is a reflection of you. I don't mean to say that everything is your fault, but if your tank is low and you're upset and you're ragey, then the responsibility, the onus is on you to make sure your tank is full. Like if I get in my car and I run out of petrol, whose fault is it? Like, and I even hate using the word fault. It's terrible language. It's very blamey and judgy. But, whose responsibility is it? If I get in my car and I run out of petrol, is it the car's fault? Or is it because I haven't stopped and put petrol in it? Okay? So if you're running on empty, it's up to you to refuel yourself. That is when someone's doing that, that's someone who's taking ownership, showing leadership, is being a great role model for everyone else, saying, hey, I need time out, and giving, and by doing that, giving other people permission to take time out, right? You don't want to be the role model that says to your kids, just keep going until there's nothing left. Sacrifice yourself until you've got nothing left to give anybody, and you're so angry and resentful about it, you don't know what to do. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're learning from us. If you need time out and you own it and you've got nothing on it, which I think is a beautiful thing, that's very loving of yourself. That's living your life through the lens of love, okay, rather than resentment, rather than martyrdom, rather than fear, rather than all of that other stuff, which is all ego, to be honest. It just is, right? That's our ego mind with all the shoulds and all the should nots. That's not love. It's a totally different place. When you're living your life from a place of love for yourself, love for others, of course you're going to make sure that your tank is full. Of course you're going to make sure that you're taken care of. You take care of you. That's what leaders do. That's what anybody does, right? I take care of me, and as I take care of me, there is more of me on offer to give everybody else. I'm in a place of well-being. This is why I'm really clear, guys, okay? And I've said this to my relatable students. I have a commitment in the way that I show up to them every single week. I have a commitment. I have a commitment in the way I show up here. I have a commitment in the way, and I mean, not the fact that I do show up, in the way that I show up, right? Now, could you, and part of that commitment is I have to take care of myself. I have to make sure I have enough rest. I have to make sure that I'm hydrated. I have to make sure that I have the bandwidth that I need, the emotional bandwidth, right? I'm very, very protective of the feeling I sit in and how much goes on in my head, because I know that I need bandwidth to do this job. I know to show up the way that I want to be of service, to provide the things that I want to provide for you guys, for my students, for my families, for myself, right? So there is certain things that I need to take care of in order for that to happen. Now, imagine if I showed up on a Friday Live and when I said to you, I haven't slept for 2 days. There's just so much going on. Everybody wants this, everybody wants that. I just can't possibly keep up. It's so hard. It's exhausting. Oh, imagine if I said that. How would you feel? You know what I mean? You'd be like, what is going on with her? Like, why is she even here? You know what I mean? Just go take care of yourself. Of course you must take care of yourself. It's the most fundamentally loving thing that you can do, loving for you and loving for everybody else. I cannot generate what I want to generate if I'm not taking care of myself, okay? Remember, you are the generator. Now, in order for you to generate what it is that you want to generate, and I'm assuming you want to take care of your family, you want to show up from a loving, calm, peaceful place, you want to have compassion and patience and all of those things that we love to bring to our family. You want to have the energy, okay, You absolutely cannot do that if your tank is empty. Doesn't, just like my car won't start if there's no petrol in it. The engine won't run if there's no oil in the tank. It just won't. It just seizes up and goes, that's it, right? So, of course, you have an absolute ownership to yourself. You must take care of yourself. And that is something you must be very mindful of. So I make sure that I have space in my head. There are certain things that I just don't do because I know that it's going to take up bandwidth. And bandwidth, the real estate in my head, is very, very, very precious to me. I don't just fill it up with crap, right? Some of you, might find that a little strange, but I'm really mindful of what I listen to, what I feed my mind. And that comes down to the irritations I might have with my husband, how much I think about my insecure thinking, how much I worry about things. Like, these are all part of the way in which I make sure I take care of my bandwidth. I know when I have bandwidth, I am patient, I am kind, I am generous, I am loving, I am playful, I am lighthearted, I am curious. So absolutely, that is fundamentally important, all right? You do not need permission from anyone to do that. What you need is to see that that is just a non-negotiable. And once something becomes a non-negotiable, it just becomes part of your everyday life, right? So this is one of those things for me. Take care of yourself first, 100%. Can't give what you don't have. So it's not like you're saying, how do I make my own time, like before or after work, and how do I focus on the family? Well, I really want to just express something about this here, okay? If you have built up a precedent with your family that they have access to you at any time, that you'll drop anything you want at any time, then that's going to be their expectation, right? But understand that you've created that. Now, if you create a completely different normal for your family, that they whatever, and I don't know too much about the situation here, but if you decide I've got to create a new normal, before work is my time. So what does that mean? It means that before the kids go to bed at night, they make their own lunches, they make sure their uniforms are laid out the next day so they can get up, they know where their lunch is, they can get dressed, and they can make their own breakfast. And you talk to them about what can we have in the house that's easy for you to get so you can take care of yourself, because this is mummy's time in the morning, and mummy's taking care of this. So whilst mummy's taking care of that, what do we need to do to make sure everyone else is taken care of? Right? So that you can actually focus on that. And of course, if the house is on fire or there's some major catastrophe, they can interrupt you, but you have mummy time. Okay. But you set the family up for success. But please understand, if you're finding it hard to find time for yourself, you've probably created an expectation that they can just come in and out of your room and interrupt you at any time. Okay. Like, there are certain times where my husband and I and the kids know not to interrupt us. Okay. Like, unless there is an emergency, they don't interrupt us. We're having our time. And we're very protective of that too. So my husband and I have time that's our time, that has nothing to do with the children. It's our time. Just like the kids need their time where they don't want to be interrupted by us. Like, they like to come home from school and defrag and relax and just chill. I totally get it. They've had a big day at school, and they just want some downtime. And so it's okay. Everyone's got to understand that downtime isn't something that you lose just because you're an adult. You need it even more. So it's just about making sure that you haven't set an expectation with your family that they have access to you 24/7 and they can't. Do you know what I mean? You've got to change that, and you can't make changes from a place of guilt. Guilt is a very unreliable emotion. Okay, I don't believe anything that comes from a place of guilt. I know I can't trust my thinking. I know that that's a distorted reality that achieves nothing. That's just my ego beating me up. Okay, this is why I value clarity of mind so much, so much, and I make sure that I do have a lot of clarity of mind. Okay, so there is nothing wrong with having time. There's nothing wrong if you're a couple and you want time and you just let the kids know this is our time. You need to be respectful of our time. Okay, and that's a good thing for them to see. It's actually reassuring for your children to see you prioritizing each other. You know that, right? It's very reassuring for your children to see you prioritizing each other, because the structure of the family unit looks really solid to them. It's okay. You don't have to be the walk in the door and say hello to everyone first and your partner last, or your husband and wife last. Say hello to them first. It's not a bad thing if the kids come running in the door and go, daddy, daddy, mummy, mummy, and you go, hang on, guys, I'll be with you in a sec. I want to say hi to mum, or I want to say hi to dad. And they watch you go over and connect. This is very good for your children to see. Okay, and very, very reassuring. Okay, so make sure, like, this is something my husband and I do every day. We make sure we say hi. I'm always happy to see my husband. I want him to know I'm happy to see him. And I genuinely am. And I make sure he knows it. Okay. And so we've set that from a very young age with our children. We make sure that we acknowledge each other, take care of each other, and the kids see it. It's not the kids first and then us. In fact, it's us first and then the kids. And that's not a bad thing, guys. Like, it might be triggering for some of you, but it's really very reassuring for your children to see that you love each other, that you're affectionate with each other, that you prioritize each other, you prioritize the relationship, okay? And then the kids work around that. Doesn't mean you don't have family time. It doesn't mean you don't have all of those things, but it's very good for your children to see this. It's very healthy, okay? This is what a healthy, loving relationship looks like. And that's what you start modeling for your children. So we always used to make sure that we come home, we say hi to each other first, and then we say hi to the kids. I mean, it's not like it's an army operation. I mean, that it doesn't mean that happens every day and it has to be that way. I don't see it like that, like a rule, but we know that's our priority, and the kids know that as well. Okay. All right. So I hope that helps. If you're struggling to find time, it's because you've set up an expectation that is unrealistic and unsustainable, and you need to change that with your family. All right. Okay. Next question. Hi, Fiona. I just downloaded your ebook and I'm really looking forward to reading it this afternoon. I just thought I'd respond to your question about what my biggest problem is right now. So in a marriage, how do you still be affectionate when you're feeling let down or frustrated? My husband is able to stay affectionate when we're having issues and thinks I should too. I guess it's probably easier when you're not the one feeling the issue. It's usually me annoyed or frustrated at him. Oh, I know that one. I absolutely know that one, honey. I really, really do. That used to be me. My husband's probably a lot more of a, well, used to be. I'm a lot more even-keeled these days. But yeah, my husband is definitely a lot more even-keeled, forgiving, getting over things quicker, or used to be than I was anyway, okay? And it used to drive me crazy that I would be frustrated and annoyed and he'd be quite fine, right? It used to drive me crazy. But you know what? There's a whole other way of saying this, honey. It's not so much that they don't feel the issue. It's just that someone like that, and look, I don't know enough about your situation, okay? So I will preface this, but this is where I say, you know, sometimes our greatest teacher is standing right in front of us. And my husband has been my greatest teacher in many ways. And one of those has been recognizing how quickly and easily he can get over something and then just come back to a good feeling with me. And that is something I wasn't good at and I needed to learn. And it's been very good for me. You know, getting over ourselves is definitely a skill we all need to learn and we all need to be better at. You know, I work with a lot of people and I talk to a lot of people, and that is one of their biggest struggles, okay, is getting over yourself. We're not so great at it. We're really not. And even when we think we are getting over ourselves, we are not. We are not. It's a whole different way of showing up. And I guess, you know, coming back to that couple that I was telling you about when I first started my live, who had their first session with me today, that was absolutely what I could see in their faces. They were both really good at getting over themselves. And so now there's just this lovely feeling, and that's why they were so warm and playful and affectionate and loving and lighthearted with each other. It was beautiful, okay, because I could see it. You know, this is what they've learned in the one-on-one stuff with me, is how to get over themselves. It's a big part of all of this, right? Because when you can get over yourself, you can come back to a loving feeling. You can come back to goodwill without all the bags of residue that people drag around with them, right? That then over time destabilize the relationship, because people just reach into that bag of resentment or residue, which I used to have. I had a massive, big tumbleweed of the stuff, drag it, put my hand into it and grab whatever I could and pop it into the current conversation we were having. And it was like kerosene to a flame. Okay. And in my mind, because I didn't understand the way things work, because I took things personally, because I didn't have emotional bandwidth, because I overthought everything, because I overanalyzed everything, because my mind was always racing, because I was very rigid in my thinking, all of the things that so many of us do, to me, carrying that residue looked like a requirement. It looked like I could never put it down until this, until that, until this had been discussed, or that had changed, or this had been fixed, or that, right? Which is how so many people move through life. So that thing was with me everywhere. Now, my husband never had one. Now, I used to think, and I actually find this hilarious, it just shows you how arrogant we can be. I used to think that he didn't have one because he just didn't have emotional maturity. He didn't have emotion. See, I'm laughing when I say this. I'm the one that didn't have emotional maturity. That he didn't have any emotional maturity. And so, he's just sweeping things under the rug and he doesn't care. That's how I saw it. I didn't actually realize that my husband was genuinely putting something down, coming back to the present now, no residue, and showing up clean. And I never appreciated how amazing that was, how lucky I was to have that in my life and what I could learn from that, because I was so caught up in my own stuff. So there is no residue. We don't have residue. And we can have an argument or a disagreement. I'm not saying we never do, because we do. There's no residue. So it means there's nothing dragging or lagging in the quality of the feeling between us. We can come back and have a completely fresh moment of now without it, okay, drowning in or marinating in the flavor of whatever we were disagreeing about, or whatever issue we may have had yesterday, last week, last month, last year. We just don't do that. And now one of the reasons we don't do that is A, it no longer makes sense. B, like I said to you, when I've got residue, it takes up room in my head and I don't have the emotional bandwidth and therefore the patience and the emotional intelligence I need to generate what I want to generate. Okay, I don't have it because it's full of what happened last week, last month, last year, last this, last that. And I see that with so many people. And so what happens is they try to move forward together, but that's what's between them, all of that stuff. And it looks like, until that is solved, until that is fixed, until that is changed, until that is whatever it is, until whatever you think needs to happen with that happens, we can't connect. That's just not true. I promise you that's not true. I know that might seem hard to see based on where you're sitting right now, but I promise you that's not true. So what I would say to you, the lovely lady who sent me in this question, and I'm smiling because that was me and I so relate to it, honey, okay, is if your husband is able to stay affectionate when you're having issues and is able to let go of things and get over things. Now, I don't know the ins and outs, but that might be, and I'm just inviting you to try this on, that might be something that you might want to get curious about and understand more, because the feeling of that is so freeing. It's so freeing. That's emotional freedom, right? When I can put something down and I'm genuinely not seething over it. I'm genuinely not ruminating over it. And it's genuinely done, gone, and this is a fresh moment. This is absolutely possible. This is what I teach people all the time. And it is what enables your relationship to go from here to here to here to here. And you can do that with anyone. You can do that with your children, with in-laws, with obviously your loved ones, with colleagues. It's a very freeing thing for you. Emotional freedom is priceless. You cannot put a price on the feeling of that. To me, it's the most important thing in terms of my well-being, is that I have emotional freedom. Because then I get to create what I want to create. I get to generate what I want to generate with the people around me. And I'm not bogged down with the past and stuff in my head. I'm not. My mind is clear. Now, it's not every second of every day, but I have a massive amount of emotional freedom. The feeling of it is incredible. It's light. It's playful. I don't take myself too seriously. I can get over myself quickly. I'm quick to forgive of myself and others. Yes,
Mm. 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 Mm.
Very quick. I never used to be. And I love the fact that I can do that. I really do. It feels amazing. And basically, when it all comes down to it, the quality of the feeling you live in moment to moment to moment determines the quality of your whole life. That's why I'm not compromising on that. How I feel is my experience. Nothing is more important than that, right? In terms of what that means, in terms of what I can then give to others. If I'm in a really low, heavy down, flat feeling and I'm angry and I'm frustrated and I'm this and that, that's all I've got to give anybody else, right? It's really, really important for you to see. Sharon, are they for sale? No, it wasn't something that we did create for sale, to be honest, Sharon, but I don't know, maybe that's something that we can look into. I must admit, I never even thought to do that, to be honest. It was just a bit of fun that happened within the group. Sharon's asking, for those of you who just joined, I've got this T-shirt that says, proud to be relatable. And I'm wearing it today because one of my students showed up on one of the relatable group calls, which is different to these Facebook Lives. We have these Zoom calls, and he was wearing this T-shirt, and he said, this program has changed my life so much. I'm so proud to be a part of it. And he had this T-shirt made, and it was really sweet because he had this T-shirt made, and then next week another guy showed up from Queensland. He'd made it and posted it to him, and then a lady in the UK showed up wearing one the next week, and he'd made one and posted it to her in the UK, and then so all of these people started popping up. This was early last year, wearing these on the Zoom calls, and then he sent one to me. It was very sweet. So I haven't worn it for ages, and I was saying to everyone, I'm wearing it today because I'm just so proud of everyone in Relatable this year, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I want to be loud and proud about it. So I was trying to think of what I was going to pop on for the Facebook Live today, and I went, I'm just going to wear this. So anyway, that's what that is. Okay. Hey, Shani, thanks for saying hi. No residue yet. Having no residue is so freeing. It's awesome. Totally awesome. I can't tell you. As someone who used to drag around like a big ball and chain of residue everywhere I went, I just love having the freedom from that. It's wonderful. Hey, Lynn. Hi. I haven't heard from you for ages. Wow. Like a very long time. You're welcome, Lynn. Thanks for joining. Lovely to have you here. Hi, Helena from Albury-Wodonga. Great part of the world, Helena, Albury-Wodonga. Beautiful part of the world. Welcome. Anyone else who wants to say hi, please do so. All right, so I've probably got room for one more quick question. Let me just see if there's a quick question here. Okay. Hey, Maz. Hi, darling. Nice to see you. Wow. Hello. Like my T-shirt? You like my T-shirt? Pretty cool, huh? Okay. Hi, Fiona. Thank you so much for your great book. So good. I probably live by most of this, though, to see how you put it all together is awesome. Okay, thank you. My question is about my son, 22. I know, he's so young. He has been in a relationship with a beautiful girl for 4 years. They haven't lived together, have navigated COVID, 8 weeks overseas travel, intense uni, law, international studies, engineering and physics between them. On their recent trip, my son had disappointed himself in her by spending a couple of hours with another girl and not fully disclosing this, even though it was only a conversation. He has come back and is feeling very insecure and down on himself. My advice has been to forgive himself now. His thinking is spiraling negative and he has real fear of losing the relationship, which he doesn't want to do. Is there anything I can help him with? With very open and wanting to be mature and accountable. Okay, great question. I think with anything, one of the things that we need to understand about ourselves, and this is just true of human beings, okay? I really want to be clear on this. People get so caught up on the differences between men and women and all this other stuff, and they get distracted by all that information. I just want to keep things really simple. We do much better when there's simplicity, guys. Truly, simplicity is the key to everything. Human beings overcomplicate everything, okay? This is very important. So as human beings, we are fallible. We're quite fallible. So what does that mean? It means that we make mistakes. It means that we screw up. It means that we do things that we're not proud of. Or it means that in a moment of now, something looks like a really great idea. And in a different moment of now, you kind of have what I call that Homer Simpson moment where you go, dolt, why did I do that? Okay. Now, we're all having those Homer Simpson moments. It's a very human being thing. Now, there's a reason why I'm being so precise in my language right now, because the minute we separate ourselves from the human being thing, right? The minute, this is where mental health issues begin. This is where people create immense suffering from themselves, and this is where people get stuck, okay? So please understand, you are a human being, and so that means, yes, you are fallible. What else does it mean? It means that you have insecurities. Everybody has them. You can't personal development them away. You can't. Everybody has them. The Queen of England, the King of England, Tony Robbins, everybody has insecurities. It's the very nature of being human. And the goal is not to get rid of them. They're very good things to have for many reasons. They provide contrasts and learning opportunities. Anyway, that's a whole other, I could run a whole day class just on that. But you've got to understand, as a human being, you're fallible. You're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes. You can't be afraid of that, okay? You can't be, because then you're going to be, that's like being afraid of the wind or afraid of breathing in or breathing out. Like, this is just a natural, normal part of being human. Now, the more you normalize that in terms of, okay, I've screwed up, I've stuffed up, the less it becomes about beating yourself up over the head. Because how can you learn if what you do is beat yourself up when you make a mistake? And when making a mistake is such a normal, natural part of being human, you've got to get really good at being okay with yourself when you make a mistake. Can you see that? Or you're going to spend an awfully large part of your life beating yourself and making yourself up, beating yourself and making yourself wrong for something that is just so human it's not funny, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you ignore your mistakes or you go, oh, well, I'm human, it doesn't matter. It just means it is so much easier to clean a mess up when you're not drowning in self-recrimination and judgment and blame and ego, okay? You know, we have got to be, this is something that's very important. If you want to generate love, if you want to generate connection, if you want to show up the way that I know so many of you do, because I speak to a lot of people, and I don't say that to go big note myself, it's just what I do. If you want to generate that, you have to be very good at forgiving yourself. Very good. Okay? That's part of getting over yourself. Yes? Right? Beating yourself up is not doing that. That's you and your ego. That's all ego stuff. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, why shouldn't you have done that? Like, yep, you screwed up. Yep, you did something that you wish you hadn't. And I don't even know if you would call that screwing up. I don't know. Like, I'm not even judging, passing an opinion on that. I'm just talking about screw ups in general. Okay? You've screwed up. You've made a mistake. You've done and said something you don't mean. Now, how are you going to be able to lovingly connect, generate something else, move forward if you're just drowning in self-recrimination? That just keeps you stuck. Can you see that? Like, people have got to be very, very good at forgiving themselves so they can keep showing up with a clean slate, emotional bandwidth, without all the baggage, and so they can be present and loving with the people they care about. Now, if you're not good at forgiving yourself, then you need to do whatever you can to be good at forgiving yourself, right? That's on you. I'm really good at forgiving myself. I screw up all the time. I don't care. I'm not trying to avoid screwing up because I know that I will. I know that I'm fallible. I know that I have insecurities. They're not going anywhere, and sometimes they get the better of me, just like they do you, everyone. But if you're going to make yourself wrong, what you're saying is, I'm completely different to every other human being on the planet. Well, I'm really sorry. You're not that special. I'm saying this with love and a firm tone, but I am saying it with love. Okay, you're not that special. Okay, I'm sorry that you're human and you are going to screw up. You are going to make a mistake. You're fallible. What you need to be good at, what is important here is it's not the mistake. It's how you move through it. That is the most important thing. Not whether you've screwed up. You are going to do that multiple times a day, at times multiple times a week, multiple times a month. Like, okay. But how you move through it. So the grace and the humility with which you move through something like that is where the rubber meets the road. Okay? The grace and humility with which you move through something like that is where the rubber meets the road. And if you want to be great at relationships, you need to be good at that. Okay. I'll stop talking now because I'm sounding a little ranty, and that's not helpful to anybody either. So sorry, I'll rein that back a little bit, everybody. But I really want to say this is so fundamentally important. Okay. And again, things that we talk about in Relatable, things that I talk about with my clients, because this is very, 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 very important. Okay. Your relationships are absolutely an aspect or a reflection of your capacity to forgive yourself. All right, everybody. I hope, I've been talking for 40 minutes. All right. I hope this has been helpful to you all. Thank you again, as always, for your questions. Hey, Giovanna. Hi, darling. Yes, you are an absolute self-forgiver. You so are, beautiful lady. I know you are. Absolutely. It is a beautiful way of living. It is true emotional freedom. Hey, Campbell, I love your rants. Thanks, Campbell. I appreciate that. So everyone, here's my Proud to be Relatable t-shirt. I am proud. I'm so proud of what we're creating. I'm proud of the community. I'm proud of all of you guys. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate your questions and your comments and your interactions. I will see you all next Friday. If you have a question, send it to hello@fionalukeis.com.au. And if you want to know more about Relatable, how you can join our amazing community and be a part of the program, you can book a chat with me, and I'm happy to take you through the program, what's in it, all the whole bits and bobs. Be more than happy to do that. All right, everyone. Happy Friday to you. Have a great weekend. See you next week. Ciao.